Ahoy there, matey. This is your captain speaking, and today we're taking a look at a sketchbook I filled in 1 week. For every day's first page, I allowed myself a simple title page. I wanted to separate the days and give myself some easy pages to work with. To start us off, I did a few pencil studies. I plan to do a few each day so that I could get some pages done very quickly, and I haven't drawn with pencil in a while, so it was nice. I forgot to spray them with some hairspray, so they did rub off on each other a bit, but that goes for all of the pencil drawings in this sketchbook. This sketch looks so nice that I wanted to add a bit of color to it to make it pop. Guess how that went? Yeah, not the best. I still do like the sketch though, but the colors are it messed everything up. This one's pretty basic, but I like it. It did come out nice. I drew 2 flowers with a ballpoint pen for this spread. I was afraid to get too messy, so this is all I have. I went back to add in the purple afterwards, but I think it looks nice, much better than the other sketches' little bit of color. This one was supposed to be symmetrical, but I messed up the ink on the right side. I decided to just cut up the page. I think I managed to make a cool effect with the sticky note though, and the little marker squiggles over the pages. I love this spread. It's probably my favorite. I really like the look of the blue pen I used, but it takes forever to dry, so it smudges a lot and very easily. I tried to cover up some of the smudges with a white gel pen. This was going to be a watercolor spread, but I decided to just play around with a marker instead. I think it looks pretty nice, but I wish I hadn't tried to go in with colored pencil. And our last page for day 1 is just a little milk carton with some lines in the back. It's simple but very cute. It looks nice as a spread with the purple for day 2's title page as well. For day 2, I asked my sister to make some blobs over a spread for me to make something out of. She completely misunderstood and didn't know what I was talking about, so I ended up with weird cloud-like shapes. I still did as planned and tried to turn them into things. It's not the greatest. I gave her a second chance to fill out a spread with blobs, and I drew over them. I really like how this spread turned out, even if I messed some blobs up trying to add too much detail. Then we have 2 spreads of arm studies. I'm not really used to redrawing things as much anymore, so it was a bit of a challenge and some of them are a little wonky. I decided to fill up the last few pages with some basic drawings of the love and deep space love interests. Xavier turned out perfect, but I can't say the same for the others. They don't look quite like themselves. Silas looks a little more like himself, but he's still not perfect. This was also before Caleb released, so he's sadly not in here. For the last page of this day, I just painted a gradient square to test out the watercolor capabilities of the sketchbook. It seems to absorb the water okay, but the paper gets really overworked very easily. I added some markers to the square to make it look a little more interesting. For day 3, I started off with some hand studies. I think most of them turned out pretty good, but I did mess up the proportions on some. I drew some forget-me-not flowers, but the real star of the spread is this piece of my OC Karina. While looking for inspiration for the sketchbook, I saw these multi-layered pieces that people made by cutting up their sketchbook pages. This one is pretty basic and only 3 tiers. I think it looks pretty nice. The paper was a little limiting when it came to the watercolors, but I still tried anyway with these trees. I also only have a few colored pencils, so I had to change Karina's color scheme a little. For the last page, I just drew a little ship from reference. It ended up a little squished, but I think that makes it look very cute. For day 4 studies, I drew some disembodied torsos. This one looks very scruffy, but I love how angular it is. I did another blob spread, this time in red, and I made the blobs myself. Some of them are pretty cute. I think they make up for the bad ones a bit. I decided to do another symmetry spread. I drew this butterfly with some colored pencils. I really do like how this one came out. It's one of my favorites, definitely. Here I tried drawing myself in a chibi style. I've been wanting to develop more chibi style. This isn't exactly what I want yet, but I'm getting there. We also have a drawing of what I imagine you mateys to look like. Not that I have a use for that just yet. Not that you know of. For the last page of this day, I wanted to test how my art would look with more hatching style shading. It looks fit for horror art, which makes me really excited because I really want to dip my toes into some horror art in the future, even if it's just now and then. Just popping in to remind you to like the video, which I assume you do if you made it this far, and subscribe if you would like to join our little pirate crew. It would be great if you could help us get to our next goal of 100 subs. For this day's studies, I drew some legs. Ta-da! I really like how these came out, including the more muscular ones for once. I drew one of my characters across the neck spread. This isn't her final design yet. The outfit is very bland, but I believe her face and hair will remain almost the same because this is basically what I want for her. Next up, I tried drawing my cat, both realistic and slightly more stylized, but they don't look any different. Somehow. She looks a little more disgusted in the one though, which is cute, but yeah. For the last page, I decided to make another horror sketch, this time making it a little more unsettling. For this day's studies, I drew some feet. You can see them devolving a little the more I drew. I ended up really loving the angular and rough looking ones. I think they look really good. I decided to do another block spread. This was half inspired by me playing Infinity Nikki and wanting to draw a sort of magical girl transformation inspired spread. It ended up pretty cool in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think. Surprise, surprise, I did another blob spread. I had a really hard time coming up with ideas after some of the early days. I don't see myself as someone very creative, so this was a challenge to fill up the sketchbook, but I managed. For this day's last page, I filled the page with a sort of automatic drawing. I was really out of ideas. For anyone who doesn't know, it's essentially a technique where you draw without really thinking about what you're drawing. I did that in pencil and then just went over everything with a pen afterwards because the pencil didn't look all that great. It felt like it was a little too light on the paper. There wasn't enough contrast. Finally, we got to day 7. I didn't have a lot of time on the last day, but luckily I split the notebook up very good. I made it so that every 2 days would have less sheets of paper than the previous 2. So for day 7, I only had 4 spreads. I prepped a blob spread the day before. I figured it would be quick and easy to fill up a spread, and it definitely was. Next, I did my studies. I spread each of the full body drawings across a spread in an attempt to get things done before I had to leave. I really didn't have much time. I had like an hour or 2 to do this. And then for the last page, I just did a little end title page to celebrate, even though I did that on day 6 to give myself a little bit of extra time to finish up. I'm really happy with how the sketchbook turned out. It's It was a lot of work. It was very challenging, but I really love how it turned out. I'm so proud of myself that I didn't completely just burn out doing the sketchbook, which I probably would have done if I recorded the process. So that's why I only have the little sketchbook tour for you guys. But that's all for today, crew. I hope to see you again for our next voyage. Bye bye!